Hi everyone, this is Tori Clark. My first one was very long, so I'm trying to cut this one down. So let's see how that goes. The three words I would use to describe myself are adaptable, resilient, and confident. Um, I think that those are very critical to the work I do. I mean, adaptable is good because you need to be able to either work within the system and modify something or completely change. And I think adaptable deals with both those realities. And then resilience, I mean, what's the point in being adaptable if what you adapt can't stand the test of time because that you can't work within the new and changing systems around you? And then I said confidence because at first I had said competence, but I've never really doubted my competence. I'm very self aware of what I do and don't know. But what I have had is doubt, and I've not had the confidence to really put forward that competence. So for me, what really ended up defining me as a leader is when I could find that confidence in my competence. As far as a lollipop moment, it's very personal, but um, getting diagnosed, or even I guess it was pre-diagnosis, um, with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome was pretty life-changing for me. I was first introduced to it last July, and I was diagnosed officially in October, and it pretty much has explained every issue I've had since birth, just about, and it is 29 years too late, but it's better than 60 years too late. As far as leaders who have inspired me, might be a bit cliche, but I am definitely inspired by my parents. They're both public school educators and they're not in traditional fields. So, I've had to see them advocate for why their subject is important when it's not something that's tested or something that a lot of people even understand. My mother's a music teacher, and my father is a technology education teacher, specifically media and communications. Um, in addition, more recently, I've been very inspired by my colleague and friend Marvin Williams, who I met at the UD Center for Disability Studies. He was an assistive technology specialist and now has gotten all the way to being a full ADA coordinator for CSU Stanislaus, and he is relied on as an expert, and then his expertise is often ignored. But what makes him stand out as a leader is that he pushes past all of that and addresses the gaps and issues that are hurting his students and finds a way to deal with it. And I think we need to learn from those types of leaders, leaders who see a brick wall, know that they have to figure out a way through it, over it, under it, around it, and they figure out which way is best. And I think that that's admirable, and there's a lot to learn there. What makes me a unique leader, and this is something I have thought about quite a lot, I feel like when the literature talks about integrated leadership, it's more talking about how, you take off your manager hat and put on your leadership hat, or vice versa. I feel like I wear both of those hats at the same time when I'm in that type of position. And I think it gives me an interesting perspective because I can both be in the trenches and be an armchair general. And that dual view, dealing with both at the same time, while sometimes it can be a little difficult, it also gives me some interesting perspectives. And I think that's very clear because every single place I've worked, I have managed to poke a huge hole in some type of process or another. So I think that is why I'm able to do that. The fact that I'm both on such a high macro level and just the really itty bitty details. As far as the future, and I'm going to say 2020 and beyond because 2020 is kind of only 1.5 years from now. That's not really the future. The main difference is that tomorrow's leaders are going to be younger on average, millennials, Gen Z, and more importantly, they will be part of rank and file. They won't just be managers. If anything, I think as the workforce transitions, there will be fewer and fewer managers, or the manager's role will be very different. Very, very different. In addition, I think there's going to be a greater appreciation for connectivity and globalization in tomorrow's leaders. And as far as the qualities of tomorrow's leaders, I think a great deal of self awareness, creativity, and credibility are going to be required. And, as more and more information is easier to access, I think credibility is going to become a huge, huge factor. And while today's political climate, this may seem like a difficult concept, I think along with that credibility, I think tomorrow's leaders will actually really need to have a lot of humility. And that's because, everyone's wrong at least once. And it's not going to be enough to be credible, but, people are going to make mistakes. Being overly connected has its downsides as well. And I think if people can't be humble and admit their mistakes and take ownership, they're not going to have that credibility. And they need that self-awareness to know that they need to be humble and credible. And I really see that being something that people really want in the future. And frankly, I'm kind of looking forward to it. All right, I can't wait to see your guys' videos. Bye.